and welcome to, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 13th meeting of the Zoning Hearing Board for the City of Reading. I'm going to introduce the board members first, or let them introduce themselves. Charlie?
Charlie Jones, alternate member of the board.
Tom?
Tom Fox, member of the board.
Jeff?
Jeff Gatone, member of the board.
Bill?
Bill Harsh, member of the board.
I'm Phil Rabina, member of the board. Emily?
Emily Diaz-Melendez, zoning officer.
Steve?
Steve Price, solicitor to the board.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have a rather long agenda, so we're going to get started right away. The first will issue some decisions from last month's meeting. The first was Appeal 2022-42. It was 1262 Cotton Street. Mr. Price.
Is there a motion to deny the relief requested?
I make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor to deny, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the next was Appeal 2023-14, 544 North 9th Street. Mr. Price.
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested, subject to conditions set forth in the written decision?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the motions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Appeal 2023-20, 726 Franklin Street.
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested, subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision, specifically that the relief is limited to 2 bedrooms?
So
Motion.
moved.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it.
Appeal 2023-22, 1125 Moss Street.
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested, subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
So moved.
So moved.
There a second? Yep, we heard a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, thank you. We have one more member of the board that just joined us. Jared, you want to introduce yourself?
He's muted.
Yeah, okay. The gentleman that will be joining us is Jared Bars. He's a member of the board, and I'm not sure where he's at right now, but he's on with us. Okay. The first matter before us is a continuance from the August 9th meeting. It's Appeal 2023-23, 241 South 5th Street. Island Real Estate Group LLC, care of Stephen Figueroa, is seeking a special exception for adaptive reuse to establish 6 dwelling units and variances for square footage requirements for dwelling units and off-street parking requirements.
Phil, we
Yeah.
have the extension on Montgomery Street that we have to vote on.
Yeah, I was going to do that one next.
Okay,
Okay, all right, if you want me to do that, I'll do that.
okay.
All right. Requesting the time extension, Appeal 2021-39 for 1541 Montgomery Street. I make a motion to request the extension. They're waiting for some permits from the state of Pennsylvania, and I believe from some engineering information. So I will make the motion that we grant them a time extension. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Second.
1 year, right?
Pardon?
1 year?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah, sometimes those things take forever. All right, now we'll go back to Appeal 2023-23, 241 South Fifth Street. The Highland Real Estate Group LLC. And care of Stephen Figueroa is seeking a special exception for adaptive reuse to establish 6 dwelling units and variances for square footage requirements for dwelling units and off-street parking requirements. The property is located in the R3 residential zoning district and the Callow Hill Historic District. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
You swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice of this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, Mr. Price.
So on August 9, 2023, this hearing was convened and the exhibits set forth in the transcript have already been put into the record. Emily, has there been any revised submissions from the applicant or anything like that?
Yes, there was revised site plan and floor plans. Those should have been forwarded to you. If not, I can forward them to you again.
Yes, the revised site plan was on 8/28/23. I believe.
Yes.
So that removes the requirements for a variance. So those that'll be exhibit number 6, the revised site plan. And was there anything else, Emily?
The revised site plan, along with photographs provided by the applicant, which was included in my revised staff report, granted the non-conforming for the lot configuration. There's still some minor variances, just because the pictures didn't give me exactly what I needed for 2 of the spaces. And then the revised floor plans that were provided that same day confirmed that all dwelling units meet the habitable area, so no variance is required for that anymore.
So what are the dimensional requirements that you're looking at the variances for?
So they would need a variance for parking space number 1 and number 2. Parking spaces are to be 9 by 18. Parking space number 1 is 8 by 16, and parking space number 2 is 9 by 15.
8 by 16 and 9 by 15
Yes.
versus 9 by 18.
Yes.
Okay.
All
Any-
other parking spaces meet the minimum requirement.
So other than those 2 dimensional variances for 2 parking spaces to have this apartment building meet zoning, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. They are providing exactly enough parking spaces for 6 dwelling units, and all the dwelling units meet the habitable area.
And that's 9, they needed 9 parking spaces for the 6 dwelling units.
Yes.
And they reached that, they just needed de minimis variances for the configuration of parking spaces 1 and 2.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay. I think I saw one other thing. They must supply a front facade architectural plan compliant with section 600-1202.A(1). Is that correct also?
Yes, it's a requirement for special exception for an adaptive reuse to have those architectural plans.
Okay.
and is the applicant on this participant?
I'm here.
Yes, he's
Let's-
here. We
let's
have to
let's
swear him in. We have to swear him in.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you.
sir, do you understand the 3 things that you need to do? You're requesting 2 variances from parking space 1 and parking 2, and then
Yes.
comply with the facade.
Yes, sir.
And you'll comply with the facade requirement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, does any members of the board have any questions with respect to this application?
All I would say is, we'll have our workshop coming in and hopefully he can have those in prior to our workshop time.
Okay. I'll work on it right away.
Okay. And maybe how about any audience members if they have any questions of Mr. Figueroa?
¿Algún miembro de la audiencia tiene alguna pregunta para el señor Figueroa?
Okay. I think I see one hand,
Where's that?
a Jacqueline Fetro.
Creo que veo una mano. Jacqueline Fetro.
I don't have my hand up. I don't know where you're
Oh,
seeing my
okay.
hand. I'm sorry.
Okay, I saw that on the screen and I thought that indicated, okay, my apology. All right, if nobody has any questions and no members of the board have any questions, we'll close this hearing and we'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be here. The decision will be mailed to you. So, and you understand, the sooner you get that into us,
Absolutely.
okay. All right, thank you, sir.
No, thank you guys. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right. The next matter,
You're gonna take Albright College?
yes, and hang on just a second here. I want to make sure I state this correctly. All right, the next matter before us is Appeal 2023-27. It is 1601 North 13th Street, AKA 1401 Union Street. Albright College, CO Brad King, is seeking temporary use for the academic school year 23-24 by providing 3 classrooms, a nurse's room, a student drop-off room in the MPK Chapel, and 1 classroom in the Center for Computing and Mathematics building for the Antietam School District 6th grade students. The property is located in the R3 residential zoning district and the institutional overlay district. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
You swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Mr. Price?
All right, let me put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. Exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, Ms. London, I believe you're the representative, so we'll let you do your presentation and sweep, you know.
Thank you. I'll enter my appearance for Albright College, Joan, middle initial E, London, Kozloff Stout, 2640 Westview Drive, Wyomissing 19610. This is a request for relief for Albright College for the Antietam School District to be able to utilize the MPK Chapel and Center for Computing Mathematics. This is for the 23-24 school year. If the use is approved, if the application is approved and will go beyond the 2024-2025 school year, we will give notice to the zoning hearing board. I wanted that to be noted. I'll be presenting the testimony of 2 witnesses, Dr. Heidi Rokeland from Antietam School District and Mr. Brad King, a project manager at Albright College. We have on this call Dr. Jacqueline Fetro, president of Albright College, in the event that the board or any member of the public would have any questions. I'll first present the testimony of Dr. Rokeland.
Well, how about we swear them in first, please?
Okay, swear in Dr. Rokeland and Mr. King then.
All right, will you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear this testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, is Dr. Rokeland present?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to present your testimony first. Could you state your name?
I'm Dr. Heidi Rockland.
Are you employed by Antietam School District as superintendent?
Yes, I am.
How long have you served in this position?
For 2 years. This is my 3rd year.
We're all aware of the catastrophic flooding of July 9th, 2023, which severely damaged the Antietam Junior Senior High School complex. Has that led to a need for contingency plans so students could be kept in uninterrupted in-person instructions?
Yes,
And have those contingency plans included other school district-owned buildings?
yes, it does.
And how are other Antietam buildings being used?
So we have two other school district buildings, the Mount Penn Elementary Center and the Mount Penn Primary Center. Our primary center, we moved a grade level in. It was a K-2 building. Now it is a K-3 building. And we are using the Mount Penn Elementary Center to now house grades 4 through 12 at different times throughout the day.
Is the use of school district buildings going to be sufficient to accommodate all of the displaced students?
No, it's not.
Have other nearby school districts been able to accommodate Antietam students?
Ms. Lund,
No.
we'll stipulate to the fact that they need this space, so just
All
let's talk about the.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about the reason we're before the board this evening, which is Albright College and Albright College's agreement to allow use of their space for any displaced Antietam students. What grade in particular would be accommodated at Albright College?
6th grade.
How many students are in the 6th grade?
At this point in time, our enrollment is 89.
Have you been involved in contingency planning for the 6th grade's use of Albright College facilities?
Yes, I have.
How many teachers will be involved?
There are 5 teachers.
And are there any other professionals or district staff who will be with the 6th graders at Albright?
Yes, there will be.
Who will be those professionals or staff?
A school nurse, a school receptionist, and at times our school principal will be there.
Okay, can you walk us briefly through a student's day from how the students will be transported to Albright, to getting to classes, to moving between class sessions and lunch and recess and transportation home?
Yeah, so the students will start their day here in Antietam. They have breakfast here with us. They do their special area classes, and then they board the buses to Albright. It's 2 buses, and they arrive at Albright College around 9:15. The teachers greet them when they get there, and then they go into their classrooms. And then if they were to have to move between any classrooms or different spaces on the college campus, they're fully supervised and accompanied by our faculty. That includes lunchtime, which they're having in Jake's Place on campus. They're supervised by our staff at all times. Then they have their afternoon classes, and then arrive back at Antietam around 3:30.
When you say the classrooms, are the classrooms in the chapel and the CCM building?
Yeah, there are 3 classrooms in the chapel and then 1 classroom in the CCM building.
Are there contingencies in place for bad weather?
Yes, so just like we are a walking district, so just like we have here, if the weather is bad, we expect the students to be prepared, but should the weather be so bad that walking outside is not an option, we would close for a virtual day or just follow our regular processes like we would here in the district.
Has Antietam School District exhausted all options for the use of its buildings?
Yes, we have. And we also have actually zoning relief applications in with the borough of Mount Penn so that we can use our existing primary center and also a church in the borough for classroom space as well.
Okay. I don't have any further questions of Dr. Oakland.
Okay. Any board members have any questions of Dr. Rochland? I can't see if you have your hands up, so you'll have to speak up.
Do any members of the audience have any questions?
Yeah, I was going to go to them next. Anybody in the audience have any questions?
¿Alguien en la audiencia tiene alguna pregunta?
I don't see anybody. All right. Emily, do you have any questions?
Just where exactly will drop off and pick up be?
The buses drop off along Union Street. So there's like a parking area and the buses pull up right there and drop the students off and the teachers greet them.
We'll address some of those logistics under Mr. King's testimony.
Okay. That's the
Alright.
only question I have.
All right, Mr. Price, did you have any questions?
I have none.
Okay, continue, please.
I'd like to call Mr. Brad King from Albright College.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. King. Could you state your full name?
Brad King,
And what position do you hold with Albright College?
project manager with Albright College.
And how long serving in this position?
3 years and 11 months.
Are you familiar with the proposal to educate students of the Antietam School District at certain facilities of Albright College?
Yes, I am.
Did you help to formulate the plans for the use of Albright's facilities by the Antietam School District 6th grade students?
Yes,
Were you present for Dr. Rokeland's testimony?
yes,
And did Dr. Rokeland's testimony give an accurate overview of the plans as you know them?
yes.
I'd like to discuss some of the specifics in which this board will be interested. First, will there be any alterations or additions to any campus buildings as a result of Antietam's use?
No,
Will there be any structures added such as modular or portable classrooms?
no,
Will the only campus buildings be used the MPK Chapel and the Center for Computing and Mathematics, other than Jake's Place for lunch?
correct.
Okay, I'd like you to put the map up of the Albright College campus. The zoning officer had shared the screen earlier.
Which one? The one sent, the picture sent today, or the facilities map?
The
Facilities
facility,
map, please.
facilities map, yes. Okay, was that the map you wanted, Mr. King?
I thought there was another exhibit, Joan, that showed specifically the CCM building.
There was, we'd like to see the Albright campus map. We'll
Yeah.
get to the aerial photo next. It was the one you had up earlier. Yes, that one.
Okay.
Okay, and that will be marked as applicant exhibit 1. Can you indicate to the board where the MPK Chapel is located?
It is number 32 on the campus map.
Is that within that red circle?
Correct.
And where is the CCM building?
It is number 28 in the red circle as well.
Right. Now we also have an aerial photo, and that was the photo that you had up before, that the zoning officer had up before. Could you share that again? And can you point that out in the context of the neighborhood? If you could just give us some
Yeah.
indication.
I'm sorry, Joan, was that question directed at me? Because I
Yes,
didn't hear it.
yes, it was.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
We have the aerial photo so that the location of the buildings can be seen in the context of the neighborhood. Mark that as applicant exhibit 2. Can you indicate to the board where the buildings are?
The building is right now, the two of these buildings, it is on the corner of Union and 13th Street, which is your cursor is that building there. That's the chapel. Thank you. Goes directly north of that is the CCM building. Correct.
Okay, and what is the intention of, and both of these buildings are on the campus, is that correct?
That is correct. They are within the institutional overlay.
And what is the intention of how these buildings will be used?
As previously indicated, the chapel will have 3 classrooms in that. We'll have a nurse's room and we'll also have a reception area. The parking lot, as shown between the 2 buildings, will be utilized for both staff and for a very restricted highly controlled parent pickup and drop off for emergencies. And also there is ADA parking spaces there. And students, when they, any students that are requiring special needs, they will go over to the CCM building and they will conduct their classes in the CCM building. And so logistically, the school buses will pull up on Union Street between the two buildings. There is a sidewalk there where the parking is. A little bit, yes, right there. Thank you. And that's where they will be dropped off to proceed to either the chapel or the CCM building under Heidi's staff's guidance and direction.
Is this an area that is safe from heavy vehicle traffic?
Yes.
Okay, a concern in the city is off-street parking. Now, these are sixth grade students, well below the driving age. But as Dr. Rokeland testified, there will be 5 teachers, a nurse, a receptionist, and a principal. Could you show us where they will park? And there's an exhibit that was forwarded. Yes, can you show us the area where they'll park with the red arrows and the blue X and the yellow check mark, and explain what those mean?
Okay. The red marker is where approximately where the school bus drop off will be and pick up. And so the blue X's are where the staff and parents, excuse me, will park. And there's adequate parking there and allowance for them to park there. And the yellow check mark is for disabled handicap parking.
Okay. And I'd like that marked as applicant exhibit 3. Will parent pickup and drop off be discouraged?
Yes, and I will need Antietam School District's help with that as well.
And now there is some construction work on the horizon for the campus, which I understand will impact some of these plans. Can you tell us what that work will be?
Well, as the zoning hearing board and the city of Reading and the planning commission members all know, that we are very excited about the pending start groundbreaking of the library project. And we've been very fortunate with Dr. Fetro's help to start this project. And we're looking forward to putting this out to bid. And as a result of that, we will need access to the library because the library is in the center of our campus. And so there will be an impact of accessing the construction site through this area. We have a plan in place that we are developing to ensure the safety of not only the Antietam school districts, but our students, our staff as well. And a part of this has to do with the way that our NIPSTES permit, the application and how that was permitted involves access coming off of Union Street between the CCM and the chapel building over to the library. But we will be sharing that plan with not only the school district, but the city of Reading and zoning as well.
Will the use of the Albright campus for the instruction of sixth grade students create any negative impacts on the surrounding area or neighboring properties?
No.
Okay, and why not?
Well, because they're confined within their spaces. We are separating ourselves such that not to impact each other. And we have those type of controls in place. And with the help of the Antietam School District and their staff, they're ensuring that we maintain this separation while we cohabitate.
And will there be any additional noise or traffic impacts as a result of Antietam School District's use of the Albright campus?
No, there should not be.
Will the use change the character of the surrounding neighborhood in any way?
No.
And in fact, are there other educational uses than Albright College in the surrounding neighborhood?
No.
Are there are primary schools and a high school in the surrounding neighborhood to Albright College?
There's an elementary school that we all know that is on the corner of 13th Street and also Exeter. So we don't see any impact to them nor them to us.
Will allowing this use benefit the community in any way?
Absolutely.
And in what ways?
Well, first of all, it's serving to help Antietam School District, and I also think it promotes a willingness for neighbor to help each other.
I don't have any further questions for Mr. King.
Okay, do any members of the board have any questions of this gentleman? You'll have to speak up because I don't see hands. And don't change the screen. You don't have to. All right, Emily, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Price?
None, thank you.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? Again, I can't see, so you'll have to sing out.
¿Alguien en la audiencia tiene alguna pregunta? Yo no puedo ver quién quiere hacer preguntas, así que tendría que hablar si quiere una pregunta, pues no puedo verlos.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't. I'll move for the admission of applicant exhibits 1 through 3.
Okay.
So admitted.
Thank you.
Now, since we really didn't have anybody in the audience asking any questions and we've had a pretty thorough presentation, I normally don't do this, but I'm going to ask the members of the board, and if we could have all of them back on the screen, please. I want to make a motion that we make a decision on this matter tonight. So if I make the motion to entertain whether we make this decision tonight or not, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now I'm going to make a motion to give approval to this appeal. And do I have a second for that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. All right, you folks are good to go. The only thing I would say to you is please keep us informed. We're kind of a lot of us are old school people, so we know what you're going through. I think Albright is to be commended for what
Yes.
they've done. I think Antietam has done a stellar job of dealing with a horrible situation, and we wish you well. And that's what communities do. They help each other. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to the zoning
Heidi,
board.
thank you, Brad. And thank you,
Okay.
Bill.
You're more than welcome. All right. Sandy, are you okay?
I am, thank you.
All right. We are now going to go to Appeal 2023-24, 226 North 6th Street. Victor M. Loreno is seeking a special exception for adaptive reuse to establish 4 dwelling units and a first floor commercial use and off-street parking requirements to be modified as part of the special exception, or in the alternative, seek variance for parking space, dimension, aisle width, and dimensional requirements. The subject property is located in the CR Commercial Residential Zoning District. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear this testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
The interpreter is needed for this case, I believe. Do you want to swear in the interpreter or?
Yes, we will swear you in now.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to interpret truthfully and accurately to the best of your ability tonight?
I do. Would you like me to interpret what you just said, Phil? Before the description.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Price, you're next.
Yeah, well, interpret what Phil said.
Ok. Esta es la apelación 2023-24 en el 226 norte de la calle 6. Para Víctor M. Liriano es el que está buscando una excepción especial para, para rehusar y adaptar, establecer una unidad de 4 viviendas y En el primer piso, una área comercial para uso con estacionamientos requeridos fuera de la calle para ser modificada como parte de una excepción especial o en alternativa buscar una variante para estacionamiento según las dimensiones y requeridas. La propiedad sujeto de esta excepción está ubicada en la zona de distrito residencial comercial C-R.
Okay, thank you. And now, Mr. Price?
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Ahora vamos a poner algunas partes, algunas pruebas materiales en las actas que son el aviso, el aviso de publicación, la aplicación y los requisitos de zonificación de la ciudad de Reading.
Is the applicant represented by counsel?
El
Yes,
aplicante está siendo representado por un abogado.
Yes, I'm representing Mr. Liriano.
Okay,
Sí, estoy
then
representando al señor
I'll let
Loriano.
you do your, put yourself on the record and then swear in anybody you're going to have testify. So go
Right.
ahead, please.
Vamos a ponerla usted en las actas y a juramentar a cualquiera que usted quiere que testifique. Would you like full interpretation or does the attorney waive this type of interpretation?
Excuse me, with the interpretation of,
I'm just asking if you want the interpreter to interpret everything or just when the witness testifies in Spanish.
just when the witness testifies in Spanish.
Does he understand English?
He has a fairly good understanding of English, but requires the assistance of the interpreter to testify.
Is this the old Baskin Leiswitz law firm building?
226 North 6th. I believe it had been an office. I don't know if it was the Baskin Leiswitz office.
All right. I think it was. Okay. All right. So let's go.
All right, I'm going to be presenting the testimony of 2 witnesses, Victor Liriano and Miguel Herrera. I'll enter my appearance, Joan, middle initial E, London, Kozlov Stout, 2640 Westview Drive, Wyomissing 19610.
Okay, you want to swear in the 2 people that will testify, please?
All right, will you both please raise your right hand?
Ambos levanten sus manos derechas.
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
¿Usted jura que la declaración que va a presentar ahora será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad?
Sí, juro.
Yes, I swear.
Okay.
Is there another person?
Miguel Herrera?
You're
Señor Miguel Herrera tiene que abrir su micrófono. No, yours is open, Miguel. What yours was open, Miguel? Was there a second witness?
Miguel Herrera.
Yeah, it was Mr. Liriano and Mr. Herrera are the 2 witnesses.
Mr. Loriano, the interpreter did not hear a response.
Oh.
Is he there?
Víctor Liriano.
Señor, ¿usted jura que va a decir la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad?
Sí, lo juro.
Yes, I swear.
Yeah, Mr. Herrera seems to be on the call. I see that he is on this call.
Yes.
Okay, there, I see him. Okay.
And you hear me well?
Yes, now we can.
All right.
He's been sworn.
All right, thank you. Mr. Liriano, could you please state your name and address?
Señor Loriano, ¿puede decir por favor su nombre y su dirección?
Víctor Liriano, 1557 Cotton Street, Reading, Pensilvania.
Víctor Liriano, 1557 Cotton Street, Reading, PA.
Okay, did you buy the building at 226 North 6th Street in October of 2020?
Yes.
¿Usted compró el edificio en el 226 norte de la calle 6 en octubre de 2020?
Sí.
Yes. If I may suggest, I will stand by in case Mr. Loriano needs me. Otherwise, I'll let him answer as he understands.
Okay, that would be perfect. Thank you. Does the building have 4 apartment units and 1 commercial unit?
El edificio tiene 4 apartamentos y 1 comercial.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, when you bought the building, what were you told about having permits for the apartments?
Cuando usted compró el edificio, ¿qué se le dijo en cuanto a los permisos que tenía para apartamentos?
El señor que me lo vendió me dijo que tenía permiso para 4 apartamentos.
The gentleman who sold it to me told me that I had permission for 4 apartments.
Did you later find out that this was not true and that the apartments did not have the permits needed?
Usted luego, después, se dio cuenta que eso no era verdad y que usted necesitaba permiso para los 4 apartamentos que necesitaba.
Y cuando le hicieron inspección de la ciudad, a ellos me dijeron que necesitaba el permiso para 4 apartamentos.
Yes, when the city inspected it, they told me I needed a permission for 4 apartments.
Okay, and did you file this application to get the permission for the apartment conversions?
Y usted presentó esta solicitud para conseguir el permiso para que se convirtiera a apartamentos.
Sí.
Yes.
Will the apartments, if allowed, meet city code requirements?
Sí, los apartamentos, si se lo permite, ¿cumplirán con los requisitos de los códigos de la ciudad?
Sí, claro que sí.
Yes, of course.
Okay, does the building have parking spaces for the apartments?
¿Los edificios tienen espacios de estacionamiento para los apartamentos?
Sí, claro.
Yes, of course.
How many?
¿Cuántos?
8. 8.
8.
Are these angled spaces?
Esos son espacios que están en ángulo.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, were they angled and in the same place as they are now when you bought the building?
Cuando usted compró el edificio, ya estaban así en ángulo y en el mismo lugar que están ahora cuando usted compró el edificio.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Would you be able to fit these spaces onto the lot if they were larger?
Usted pudiera lograr que estos espacios encajen en el lote si el espacio fuera más grande.
Oh, no.
No.
Are the spaces right now big enough for passenger cars?
Los espacios ahora mismo son suficientemente grandes para carros de pasajeros.
Sí, claro.
Yes, of course.
Have you made any changes to the building since buying it?
Desde que lo compró, ¿ha hecho algún cambio al edificio?
No, ningún cambio.
No, none.
Okay, do you intend to change the outside of the building, such as making it bigger or higher?
¿Tiene la intención de cambiar? I'm sorry, can you repeat that for the interpreter? Do you intend to make
Sure, the building bigger or higher, larger or higher?
¿Usted tiene la intención de hacerle cambio al edificio para que sea más alto o más grande?
No.
No.
Do you want to try to get a commercial tenant for the first floor?
¿Usted va a querer conseguir un inquilino comercial para el primer piso?
Sí, claro.
Yes, of course.
What type of tenant do you have in mind?
¿Qué clase de inquilino usted tiene en mente para eso?
El espacio comercial se adapta para espacio médico, para oficinas médicas, oficinas de abogados o oficinas, para cualquier tipo de oficinas.
Okay.
Y para tiendas también se adapta.
The space is suitable for medical offices, lawyers' offices, any kind of offices, and also for store.
Will the apartments cause any noise or traffic?
¿Los apartamentos causarían algún tráfico o ruido?
No, ningún tipo de ruido.
No noise.
Would the apartments change the neighborhood in any way?
¿Los apartamentos cambiarían el vecindario de alguna forma?
No.
Okay, will there be any positive impacts from the apartments?
¿Habrá alguna clase de impacto positivo en los apartamentos?
Sí, claro, impacto positivo, sí, porque agregarían vivienda a la ciudad de Reading y
Uh,
estarían en buenas condiciones de vivienda.
yes, it would add living spaces to the city of Reading, and it will be good living spaces that are in good condition.
I don't have any further questions for Mr. Liriano. I'm going to call Miguel Herrera next after any questions that you might have, who will testify to the apartment, to the particulars of the apartment units and dimensions and the like.
All right,
Okay. Any members of the board have questions? Please sing out. All
I
right,
do, Phil,
pardon?
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
To the applicant, were there separate electric meters when you bought the building and gas meters?
This is question for, I'm sorry.
The guy who just testified.
Okay. Había contadores de, you said gas meters, right? Not
Were there
electric.
separate electric and gas meters for the property when he purchased it?
Cuando usted compró la propiedad, ¿ya existían contadores eléctricos y de gas en la propiedad? ¿O usted tuvo que
Sí,
comprarlo?
existían los contadores eléctricos. De gas no existen porque el sistema de calefacción es eléctrico.
Yes, the electric already were in existence, not gas because the heating system is electric.
Okay.
How
Were
many
there-
meters were there?
¿Cuántos contadores había?
Cinco contadores.
Five meters.
So one for the commercial and 4 for the residential.
Right.
Were there kitchens and bathrooms in each of the apartments?
¿Había cocinas y baños en cada uno de los apartamentos?
Correcto, sí.
Correct, yes.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Anybody on the board, any questions? I'll ask one more time. Anybody in the audience have any questions?
¿Alguien en la audiencia tiene alguna pregunta?
All right, seeing none, continue, please.
I'd like to call my next witness, Miguel Herrera.
Okay. Miguel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Could you state your name and employment?
My name is Miguel Herrera. I am with Milan Consulting Group.
And what type of business is that?
We provide architectural consulting services.
All right, we'll stipulate that Mr. Herrera is a draftsman and can testify to the square footage of the apartments.
All right, thank you. Are you familiar with the property at 226 North 6th Street?
Yes, I am.
There are renderings on the screen which were attached with the application and will be marked as applicant exhibit 1. Did you prepare these renderings showing existing conditions and proposed use for apartments and a commercial use?
Yes.
Did you prepare them based on discussions with Mr. Liriano about use for 4 apartments and a commercial use?
Yes.
Can you, using the plans that are on the screen, describe the existing conditions of the exterior and interior of the building?
Of course. Okay. So this page shows the existing site plan of the property. On the right-hand side, we see that there is a 3-story building, and at the rear of the building, which is on the left-hand side, we have existing parking spaces.
Okay, and how many, and are those the 8 parking spaces that were described
Yes.
in Mr. Liriano's testimony? Okay, now, can we go to the next page? You know, looking at the drawings, can you describe the proposed use, the features included and the apartments?
Yes, there's one thing that I have to mention. The drawings that you are seeing are really existing conditions of the building as it is right now. There is no proposed changes depicted on these drawings.
Mhm.
So as Mr. Liriano stated, when he gave his testimony, the building has already 4 existing apartments, and that's what I did. We did document it We took measurements of all the spaces and we labeled all the spaces according to their use and identify the areas of the existing apartments. So
You know,
we
with-
have, excuse me?
With these existing apartments, can you describe how many bedrooms in each, living area, bathroom and the like?
Sure. Can we go to the next page, please?
Yes.
Well, you know, for some reason, the last drawing that we issued had color-coded areas for the different apartments that illustrates better where the apartments begin and ends. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Mhm.
So the upper floor plan shows the existing first floor plan with the area, which is 1,582 square feet. The second floor plan shows a yellow area that represents the existing apartment on the second floor that has 2 bedrooms. The area of that apartment is 773 square feet. The rear apartment on the second floor has 2 bedrooms and it has an area of 866 square feet. There are 2 existing stair towers, one at the front and one at the rear. And the third floor plan illustrates the 2 apartments on the third floor. The front apartment on the third floor, it is a 2-bedroom apartment and it has an area of 723 square feet. The rear apartment on the third floor is a 1-bedroom apartment and it has an area of 551 square feet.
Are you familiar with city requirements for, dimension for area of apartments?
Yes, and the areas that we have on these apartments, besides the one for the 1-bedroom apartment, exceeds the minimum requirements for the 2-bedroom apartments.
And does the 1-bedroom apartment meet the requirements for a 1-bedroom apartment?
Yes, it does.
Do all of the apartments have the required sleeping area, living area, full bath and kitchen?
Yes. As you
Are
can see,
you-
we have dining room, kitchenette, kitchens, bathrooms, windows.
Are you familiar with the surrounding neighborhood to 226 North Sixth?
Yes, I am.
You believe the use will change the character of the surrounding neighborhood in any way?
No, it is a commercial residential area, and this building has very great features. It has a lot of parking spaces that it is not found very often throughout the city for projects like this. So I think it's a good building for the use that is being proposed for.
Okay, do you believe there will be any negative impacts on the area as a result of the allowance of the apartments and the dimensional and parking space size variances requested?
I don't think that it will have a negative impact.
Okay, are all of the opinions this evening rendered with a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have any further questions.
Okay, any member of the board have any questions for Mr. Herrera? Zoning, any questions for Mr. Herrera?
No questions, but I did want to make some comments so that they're on the record. So as stated in my staff report, they won't need any variance for the habitable area. They also won't need any variance for the parking lot or the parking spaces or configuration because that would continue with this non-conforming status. There is Google aerial views and street views showing the parking lot in its current configuration. We would just ask that those wheel stops be just because in the pictures the wheel stops some of them are not completely secured or broken. They need to be maintained, so if those could be fixed. Other than that, they are providing the required minimum of 88 accessible parking spaces. So really the only thing that the board should be focusing on is just the generalized adaptive reuse, but everything else, they do meet the requirements or have non-conforming status.
So Emily, you've seen this building, correct?
I've reviewed their plans, and I have seen the outside of it, and I have gone to the back.
So in your opinion, those apartments have been there for a considerable period of time?
So I don't know if they have been there, just based on what the applicant has said is that he bought it that way. It seems that the conversion, the apartments were put in there illegally and have been used if he's saying that the kitchens and all that have already been in there.
But did you looked at the electric meters? They didn't look like they were put in?
No, I didn't look at those. I looked in the back for the parking lot.
Okay, and but you didn't go through the apartments at all?
No.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right.
Was there any prior permits pulled for that building?
Not that we have record of.
Okay, all right. I'm familiar with the building. It's only a block away from my office, so I'm just, and I'm not surprised that there's been apartments there for years, but I just wanted to get your opinion. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any members of the audience have any questions at this point?
¿Alguien de la audiencia tiene alguna pregunta en ese momento?
One of the other things, Emily, that I noticed was I think they wanted a drawing of the front facade. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a requirement of the adaptive reuse. So we would just need those renderings.
Okay, that's fine. All right. There's nothing else. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make a comment in favor of granting this application?
¿Hay alguien en la audiencia que quiera hacer algún comentario en favor de que se apruebe esta solicitud?
Anybody wish to make a comment against granting the application?
¿Alguien quiere hacer algún comentario en contra de que se apruebe la solicitud?
Okay, so seeing none, I'm going to close this appeal and we'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No escuchando ninguno, vamos a cerrar esa audiencia y esta apelación y vamos a emitir una decisión después.
All right, thank you.
So Phil, the interpreter does have a scheduling conflict and was requesting that we move appeal 2023-28 to be heard next, because that's the next case that would require an interpreter.
And it's also my next and last case as well, so thank you.
So yeah, there you go, Joan.
All right, now wait a minute. 23-28, and they want to move it where, Emily?
To be heard next.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because one of the witnesses, Ms. DeJesus does not require an interpreter, but one of the witnesses does.
All right, okay. We'll accommodate that. I took my privilege to move things around, so I think we can accommodate somebody else.
Thank you very much.
All
And
right.
Tilden- and the supervisors of Tilden Township also thank you.
Oh, all right.
And
Tell them
just
they can get in where they can send their check. Appeal 2023-28, 601 North 3rd Street. Nidia M. DeJesus is appealing the determination of the zoning officer that a property that has not been used as a warehouse in the past. The applicant also seeks a change from one non-conforming use to another non-conforming use. In the alternative, the applicant seeks a variance to use a portion of the property, which is 4,000 square feet, for a shipping business. The subject property is located in the R3 residential zoning district, and the owner of record is Jose L. Traverias Concepcion. All right, would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Price.
I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, Ms. London, you want to enter your appearance and then we'll swear in witnesses.
Entering my appearance for Nydia De Jesus, Joan, middle initial E, London. Kozlov Stout, 2640 Westview Drive, Wyomissing 19610. I'll have 3 witnesses. I'll take the one requiring the use of the interpreter first, and that will be brief, and that's Jose Tavares. Other witnesses will be the applicant, Nydia De Jesus, and Miguel Herrera.
And just for the record, the interpreter remains under oath.
Correct.
All right, you want to swear them in, please?
All right, please raise your right hand.
Por favor, levanten sus manos derechas. Los que van
Do
a
you swear the
testificar.
testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Usted jura que lo que va a declarar será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
The applicant is muted.
Tiene que abrir su micrófono. You
You
said
need to unmute.
abra su micrófono.
Okay,
¿Me escuchan?
Can you hear me? Sí, lo podemos escuchar, señor. ¿Usted jura que va a decir la verdad?
Sí, señor.
Yes, he said yes
Wow.
to the swearing.
Thank you.
All right.
okay,
All right. Ready for me to proceed?
yes.
All right, first witness will be Jose Tavares, goes by David. Mr. Tavares, could you state your full name, please?
Señor Tavares, por favor diga su nombre completo.
José L. Tavera Concepción.
José L. Taveras Concepción.
Are you the owner of 601 North 3rd Street?
¿Usted es el dueño del 601 norte de la calle 3?
Sí,
Yes.
Are you in agreement with the application of Nydia De Jesus for the use of 4,000 square feet of the property for a shipping business?
¿Usted está de acuerdo con la aplicación de la señora de Jesús para que la propiedad se use para un negocio de envíos?
sí.
Okay,
Yes.
since you purchased the property, have you made any changes to it?
Desde que usted compró la propiedad, ¿usted le ha hecho algún cambio o modificación?
Bueno, yo lo que he hecho es pintarla y ponerla bonita.
Well, the only thing I've done is paint it and make it pretty.
Okay, so long as you own it, other than painting and making it look better, the property has been the same on the inside and outside?
So, siempre cuando usted ha sido el dueño, lo único que ha hecho es embellecerla y pintarla para que se vea bien en la afuera.
Sí,
Yes.
Right.
sí.
Yes.
I don't have any further questions for Mr. Tavares.
All right, any board members, any questions?
No tengo una pregunta para el señor Tavares. ¿Algún-
Mr. Chairman, I have one, maybe he can answer.
Yes, go ahead.
In looking over this report, can you tell me how many uses are involved in this building currently?
Al mirar ese informe, ¿me puede decir de qué forma se está usando o de cuántas formas se está usando este edificio en este momento?
En una unidad
One unit,
comercial, una unidad
Com-
comercial.
commercial unit.
Only one commercial unit.
¿Solamente una unidad comercial?
Sí,
Yes.
And what is that commercial unit?
¿Y de qué es ese comercio?
auto repair.
Auto repair.
All right. Thank you.
Gracias.
All right, zoning, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, Mr. Price,
I have none.
anybody in the audience?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
¿Alguien en la audiencia tiene alguna pregunta?
you need to give us your name and address, please.
Elizabeth Gonzalez, 614 North 3rd Street.
Okay, and remember, it's just a question, not whether you like it or you don't, okay?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
What is going to be going in that building?
¿Qué es you mean, ma'am, what kind of business?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
¿Qué clase de negocio usted va a poner en ese edificio entonces?
Bueno, ese del envío que quieren poner y hasta ahora lo que la ciudad me permita después.
Well, right now that shipping business they want to put in and whatever the city would allow me in the future.
What type of shipping business and what is going to be the parking that this shipping is coming into?
Ma'am, this is Joan London. I represent the applicant, and the applicant and Mr. Herrera will be testifying to that in detail.
Okay.
All right. And if when you hear that testimony, if you have more questions, you can still ask, okay?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Joan.
All right, I'll call my next witness, Nydia De Jesus. Nydia, could you please state your name and address?
Hi, everyone. My name is Nydia De Jesus. Address is 1344 North 11th Street, Reading, Pennsylvania, 19604.
And did you file the application for the use of 4,000 square feet of the property located at 601 North 3rd Street?
Yes, I did.
Were you present for the testimony of Mr. Tavares?
Yes, of course.
And have you entered into a lease with Mr. Tavares as of yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Have an agreement.
When will you be entering into a lease?
As soon as we get the approval.
Okay, and in fact, you've negotiated the terms of a lease for your business, but you just haven't signed yet because you don't have the approvals yet. Is that correct?
That is correct. He's doing it in a good faith.
Okay, there was a photograph of the property that was submitted with the application that will mark as applicant exhibit 1. Could the zoning officer please share that photograph that was submitted with the application?
1 second. Sorry, we have multiple folders. I'm trying to find it now.
Okay.
Did you send it recently? Because I'm not seeing
I
it.
believe it was with the application. But if not, it's fine. We can proceed without it. It was
No, I have it.
Oh, you do have it. Okay, good.
Yep. Is this it, Joan?
What you're showing now are the renderings from Mr. Herrera?
No, they're photos.
Yeah, there's photos at the bottom of A100.
All right. Well, was there a sign in place that showed the a prior use of the property?
No.
Was there any markings on the property that showed any use that was there in the past, such as an office use?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
There was one for it was an office use for a home occupation for a lawyer's office. That was in the this property does have one residential dwelling unit that's approved there, so there was a home occupation for a lawyer's office.
Okay, and was the rest of the property as you're seeing in the photographs now?
Sorry, there's someone that's like eating in the background. I don't know if you can mute yourself or not eat. Okay, Joan, can you repeat yourself?
Okay, we're seeing some photographs right now. Is this the current condition of the property? The photographs we're seeing on the
These
screen.
are photographs that were provided to the zoning office in with their site plan.
Right. And this is the way it looked when you first saw the property.
I haven't been to the property to see this portion of it. I've only seen the outside front of it and portions of where the auto repair is. but I haven't gone inside the property to determine whether this is how the current condition is.
Okay, who is testifying right now? Is this Emily?
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Are you asking me or
I was
someone
asking
else?
the applicant.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, Nydia, are you able to hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay. Looking at the photographs that are on the screen right now, does that represent the condition of the property as you have seen it?
That is correct.
Okay, and has it always looked that way as long as you've been familiar with this property?
Yes.
All right,
It's a lot cleaner now. It's painted on the inside. It's painted on the outside. It's a reddish color. But yes, it is the property.
okay, now the application states that this will be used as a shipping services facility. Can you explain to the board the operations of a shipping service facility?
Yes. What we are actually, it is happening in town right now. A lot of people come from New York. What they do is that they pick up people belongings to their homes, storage places, and then ship them over to here to the Dominican Republic. We do a lot of food pickup. We do used clothing. We use stove, refrigerators. People just trying to help economically their family members overseas.
Okay, and have you worked in shipping services in the past?
Yes, I did. I was actually an employee of American Airlines Cargo, so I'm pretty aware of how cargo actually works. Yes.
Now, with your proposed shipping business, to what locations would you be shipping items?
We will be shipping to the Dominican Republic.
And would that be exclusively to the Dominican Republic?
That is correct.
Would you be partnering with a company in the Dominican Republic?
That is correct. We have a company registered here with all the law, and yes, we will be. Then once the merchandise gets here, what we do is that we deliver to people's homes.
I will state for the record, when Ms. DeJesus says here, she is referring to the Dominican Republic. She is testifying from there. She had to address a family medical emergency, and that's why she is referring to it as here. Just wanted to make that clear for the board. Do items that are shipped from the United States to the Dominican Republic have to clear customs?
Yes, they do. Every single one.
Okay, and what you testified to the types of items that would be shipped. Are there any hazardous materials that would be shipped?
No, it will not. Actually, right on the invoice, there is a discharge closure where
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that. There's some background noise. Start over. No, it will not.
a question or my answer?
Your answer, please.
Oh, okay. Yes, actually, no, because there is a discharge closure on the invoice where customer signs once we get to pick up the merchandise. If at any point after we pick up a merchandise, we will have a way to briefly supervise the cargo. And if we do have a suspicious, then we will be calling the customer so we can go over the merchandise.
Okay. How will you ensure that you are not at your facility holding or shipping any items which would be dangerous or illegal?
There is, we will be using a security method for that. Before we pick up a merchandise, we're going to make sure that we have the credentials of who we are picking up merchandise to. And we will also have the credential to where the merchandise will be sent to. We have a program here where we can verify what is called the cedula, which is the ID, and we can verify who is the person receiving the merchandise in the Dominican Republic.
Okay. Can you describe the process for shipping? For example, would customers come to your facility? Or do you pick up the items at individuals' homes and businesses?
We're gonna have two small trucks where we will be picking up in the city as customers need it. When they call us, we'll go and pick them up. Customers will not be coming to our facility. Very rare if they do, because they rather have their merchandise pick up. No customer's gonna get, you know, a big box full of food and cans and rice and oil, you know, delivered, unless it's urgent or they cannot wait until it gets picked up. So most of the merchandise, it will be picked up at the customer's properties.
Okay, now you mentioned two small trucks. Are there any larger trucks that will be used?
We are expecting at least once a month at 20 food starting. If business needed, then we will look in. Our hope is to have at least 120 food a week.
And when you say the smaller trucks, about what dimensions are they?
They are vans and they kind of modified. I don't have the specific measurements of. I'm sorry?
Econoline 3.5 something.
Econoline 3.5,000.
Right. And how many employees?
It's a Ford.
Ford Econoline?
Yes.
How many employees will you have?
It's gonna be around 3 of us. The most will be 4 of us. There will be 2 at the facility, and it will be 2 employees on the road.
And how many parking spaces are on the premises?
We have plenty of parking spaces. There is a parking space for around 12, 14 vehicles.
And what will be your days and hours of operation?
We will do from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, and we will do probably 8 to 12, 8 to 1 o'clock on Saturdays.
Close Sundays?
Close on Sundays, yes.
Can you describe the surrounding neighborhood?
Right across our location, there is a storage unit, a large, very large storage unit. Right across the street, I believe there is a daycare and also an abandoned building. It looks like it was like a factory building. There's the railroad, the rail tracks, and right behind it, there is a factory as well on Buttonwood Street. There's also some residential units around the area.
Okay, does it appear that there also some landscaping and buffering between 601 North 3rd and surrounding properties?
Yes.
Okay, there was an aerial photo that was attached to the application, and did that show it? Did that show the landscape, some landscape buffering?
I don't. See it there.
Yeah, that's at the top of CS 100.
Yep.
You have to bring it down a little.
Yeah, move the cursor up. Scroll up, scroll up.
There.
Okay. Are you able to see some landscaping between the building and adjacent uses?
Pretty bad when it comes to these kind of this. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll defer that to Mr. Herrera's testimony. Okay, will your use as a shipping service provider change the character of the area in any way?
Not at all. We're not gonna have traffic in and out that area at all. This is gonna be more of a storage unit.
Okay, will there be?
We're gonna have dispatch the trucks in the morning, and then they will come at the end of the day with the merchandise that will be at.
Okay, will there be any hazards to safety in the area as a result of your business operations?
Not at all.
Will there be any negative impacts on the area as a result of your business? And do
No,
you
ma'am.
believe that the grant of your request for variance and change in use would be beneficial to the neighborhood?
Yes, it will be. We are hoping to grow and we are hoping to hire more employees and have, locals work as well in the warehouse. We hope that we get the other side of the building and just do the big, there is no shipping company in town. There's no place where people can go or call and find out about their merchandise once it gets picked up, because most of the shipping companies come from New York or from Allentown, and this is a service that we want to be able to provide to the city and be the first ones able to provide a different service.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay, any member of the board have any questions of the last witness? Zoning, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Price?
I have none.
Okay, anybody in the audience?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, sir. We need your name and address first, please.
Leslie McGann, 618 North 3rd Street.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to start over and spell your name.
Leslie, Lesleigh. Last name is McGann, McGann.
Okay, and your question, sir?
My question is, will you be entering and exiting the property from the Greenwich Street entrance or through the North 3rd Street entrance?
We are, since we are on the Greenwich, and the parking space right there on Greenwich.
Okay, so you won't be using any door.
We will be coming from Buttonwood up North 3rd.
Okay, but you won't be using the North 3rd Street entrance.
That will be the most convenient way. I've seen a lot of trucks parked there. So we will be using the commercial way to come into the warehouse, yes. It will be up North 3rd, Buttonwood North 3rd, and then entering Greenwich.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay. All right, any other questions from anybody?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, Mr. Lauer, you want to give us your name and address? We know who you are, but
It's Michael Louder, and I live at 836 Center Avenue. And my question is the auto business still in operation? The auto repair?
did you hear that question? Is the auto repair business still operating, ma'am?
There is an auto repair right next to my shop, to the.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that. I didn't hear that.
Okay, yes, there is an auto repair shop right next to us.
Whoever's moving stuff around, you're muffling the audio, so please stop it.
Then following up on that, you mentioned about having parking. Where would that parking for your facility be?
It's the one.
Looking at the photo, it appeared that there was quite a bit of automobiles in that area that I would assume is the parking lot.
Yes, parking spaces, we will not need more than 3 parking spaces. Once we dispatch our trucks, the 2 little trucks that we have, the 2 vans, once we dispatch them, it will just be my car. And this is a family business. It's me and my son who will be operating it. So we will be moving in 1 vehicle. So we will not be in the need of many parking spaces. The most we might need for the business, it will be 3 parking spaces.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you would be parking in that area where the auto repair business is. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
We're going to design the parking, and the front of it, it will be for the part of it for the shipping business.
And will you be requiring no parking zones for that area?
We will not need, no need for it.
Like truck only, no parking, that's the type of thing.
If we get the truck, yeah, then we have the space to load. They allow us 24 hours to load, and then they come and pick them up. We will have plenty of space for that, so we won't be interrupting the area or the traffic.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks to you.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, in connection with the previous question, all of your loading and unloading will take place in the parking lot behind the building?
That is correct.
And that includes the 24-foot truck?
20.
20?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Hey, Ms. London, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wanted to add to my presentation that the location previously had the loading dock built into it. So we have not done any modifications to that area. The loading dock is there. So yes, there will be a space for us to load our trucks.
All right, Ms. London?
I don't have any further witnesses. I do have a further witness, Miguel Herrera. I don't have any further testimony from Ms. De Jesus.
Okay. All right. You want to put Mr. Herrera on quickly, please? Just
Yes.
walk through it rather quickly, please.
Yes, I will. I would ask that Mr. Herrera be qualified as an expert
We'll
in drafting
stipulate.
plans. All right, thank you. The plans are already, the renderings and plans are already up on the screen. Mr. Herrera, you are familiar with the property at 601 North 3rd Street?
Yes, I am.
And did you prepare the renderings that are up on the screen?
Yes, I did prepare those.
All right. Can you describe the existing conditions of the building?
Yes, the space that we are discussing is on the drawing that we are seeing. It is clearly described. It says existing one-story structure, proposed shipping facility. It's there are pictures in the next sheet showing the existing conditions of the space. Can you please move to the next sheet?
I'm sorry, did you need me to change the page?
Yes, could the zoning
Yeah.
officer move to the photographs?
So
One.
this drawing shows. No, can you stay in the A100, please, Emily? Thank you. So this drawing shows the existing floor plan plus 4 aerial views of the space, including existing columns that are within the space. And as a complementary information, there are pictures below this floor plan that also depict the existing conditions in the space. So as Mrs. De Jesus
Photographs
said,
show the existing conditions of the space.
yes,
Okay, does the building appear to have ever been used for any type of residential use?
it doesn't seem that it was used for residential at all, at
Okay.
least not this portion of the building.
Okay, would it be, in your opinion, cost prohibitive to change the use to a residential use?
Besides the cost, I don't think that is feasible because
Okay,
for so many reasons.
looking at the renderings that you've prepared, could you describe the proposed use and the features that you've included in your drawings?
Yes, can we please move on to the next drawing? Emily, please, thank you. Okay, so in this drawing we show the proposed layout of the space, which is basically just the addition of an area for offices, for them to have their records and store their transactions with their clients. As Mrs. De Jesus was mentioning, the loading dock is existing. The overhead door that is in there is already existing. The restroom is already existing. So the place will need not that many items to be reconfigured. It will need some electrical work, some lighting, and of course the area for the offices, which is the yellow area that is on the left-hand side of the screen.
Okay, do you believe that the 4,000 square foot rear area of the building would be suitable for receiving items, packing them, completing documents, and then sending them out on trucks?
Oh yes, I think that it does have enough space and the features for the proposed business that the client has in mind.
Okay. And are all of the opinions rendered this evening with a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have any further questions for Mr. Herrera.
Okay, any board members, any questions of Mr. Herrera? Zoning, any questions? Oh,
No questions.
okay, Mr. Price,
I have none.
did I cut off one of my zoning people? No? All right, anybody in the audience, any questions of Mr. Herrera? Okay, seeing none. There was a lady who asked some questions. Did you have your questions answered, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank
All
you.
right, is there anybody in the audience? Unless you have anything else, Ms. London, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for granting the appeal? Anybody wish to speak against granting the appeal? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close this appeal. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. And you need not be there. The decision will be mailed to you. And we thank you for your participation.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, and I'll see you next month.
Okay,
Good evening.
Bye, Joan.
right.
Bye.
Okay, Sandra, are you still okay?
I am, thank you.
All right, the next appeal is 2023-25, 901 Center Avenue. Evil Empires LLC, CEO George Malve, is seeking to relief to reestablish a non-conforming dwelling unit in the detached carriage garage. The non-conforming dwelling was terminated by the previous owner in the year 2000. The subject property is located in the R3 residential zoning district and the Center Park Historic District. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Thanks. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading. Emily, I just have a question for you. How did the prior owner discontinue this dwelling unit?
So there was a zoning permit number 2000-124 in which they essentially their intention was to remove the dwelling unit from the carriage house. So that shows intent of abandonment.
But there is a dwelling unit there. Have you been there?
I have not been there. Based on conversations I've had with the applicant, the dwelling unit was never removed. The only reason why we weren't able to grant it non-conforming was because we were not provided any pictures of prior to any renovations. So we weren't able to determine whether or not that that apartment was officially removed. Had we received photos, what would have happened is the permit removing the dwelling unit would have been voided, and it would have reverted back to its non-conforming status.
All right, is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get you sworn in.
Please raise your right hand.
Go ahead.
Do you swear this testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your full name for the record.
George Malave de Jesus.
Okay, thank you. Are you represented by counsel?
Yes, sir. This is Paul Trosi from Barley Snyder on behalf of Evil Empires LLC. Address 2755 Century Boulevard, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania 19610.
Mr. Trusty, do you have pictures of this carriage house?
I do not have them right now, sir, but we could submit pictures that show that the apartment is still there. It was never removed. It's vacant, obviously, but there's a kitchen and it's an open residential unit.
When did your client purchase the property, do you know?
December, I believe, of 2022.
And it's got a separate meter for the apartment and everything?
That is my understanding, correct?
Do you think it'd be better if you get some pictures and get them to us, and then we do this next month? Or we can do it in October. What's that date, Emily?
We do have a special meeting scheduled already for October 4th, and then the decision would still be rendered on the 11th.
So could you get us some supplemental evidence and probably be a pretty quick, we could take you first on October, whatever it is, and get you in and out, and then get you a decision on the 11th. Would that be agreeable?
Yes.
We would need photographs of the unit prior to the renovations. I have seen photos with the renovations done. We need photos of prior to the renovation to prove that that dwelling unit was never removed.
That's where, if I may interject, prior to me purchasing the property, the roof in the cottage house was caving in, so there was a lot of water coming in. So I proceeded to pull permits to get the roof adjusted in the meantime, where the water would stop coming in. But at the same time, I did take photos, but I can't find them in none of my files. But I did proceed to renovate the apartment exactly as it was. So for me to find those photos, I even reached out to the realtor. I reached out to the listing agent. They only have photos of the primary living space, which is the main house. So for me to find those photos is going to be pretty much impossible for me to find, since I have already updated that apartment with the way it was.
What do you mean you can't find the photos?
I can't find, because I switched phones because the phone broke, and then I really got lost in the cloud. It was a mess. You know what I mean? So this past week I've been looking. I've been calling everybody to see if I can get some photos to present to you guys, because I knew that was very critical with this hearing. But like I said, it's becoming really impossible for me to come up with those photos.
Let me ask you, what did you replace in the carriage house?
I didn't replace anything. All I did was I upgraded everything. Like wherever the kitchen was, I made it look more modern. Where the bathroom was, I kept it
That's
there.
replacing. So is the toilet the original toilet? Is the sink the original sink in the bathroom? Is the shower the original shower? Are they all new?
Everything is new.
Okay, so you did replace.
The locations is the same.
Yeah.
Not the.
But as far as the old water meter is still there, the old heating system is still there, the old the oil tank is still there. I didn't get rid of none of that. That I can get you photos of immediately. But as far as
The electric meter?
the electric meter, Met-Ed gave me a new one.
So the meter head.
Get
the
proof
meter
of when
head.
you got the new one. If they just replaced the meter.
Yes, it should be in the system, yes.
All right, now let me ask you this. If you bought the house and you had a roof cave in, did you make an insurance claim?
No, I did not.
You didn't make an insurance claim?
No, I paid it out of pocket.
Those are added property.
When
Yeah, I
you-
bought the property as is.
When you pulled the permits with the city, get the copies of the permits that you pulled, because that will show whether you're repairing or replacing or what, not.
Wait a minute, didn't Amy Johnson go in there?
Amy Johnson approved all that for me.
Yeah, Amy Johnson actually walked through the property and she went in there because there was complaints by the neighbors saying that there was people in there. Maybe she could make an affidavit saying, because she saw it prior to the renovations.
Paul, can you get an affidavit from Amy Johnson from the city and submit?
I can talk to her tomorrow when we're back into the office. And she probably would be more than happy to come in and testify.
All right, I think that's the better way to handle it. That way we have a complete picture,
Understood.
okay?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Malabi.
So are we continuing this until October 4th?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
we
put
will
that
con-
number one because that'll be very fast.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Cuck, I believe.
Yes, the next one should be Appeal 2326. Are you still okay, Sandy?
I am.
All right. Appeal 2023-26, that's 500 Bruckman Avenue, AKA 2120 Fairmont Avenue. Mitsubishi Chemical Advanced Materials, Inc., CO Michael Malinsky, is seeking dimensional variance for maximum allowed building coverage and variances for shade tree requirements, urban renewal projects, screening sidewalks, and relief for the distance permitted from the use for off-street parking requirements. The subject property is located in the MC Manufacturing Commercial Zoning District, and the owner of record is Polymer Corp. DSM Engineering Plastics, Quadrant EPP USA, Inc. And would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear this testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number one is the notice. Exhibit number two is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number three is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number four is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number five is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended. I believe that's the longest deed owner I've ever seen. But that being it, Mr. Cuck, you want to enter your appearance?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Price, members of the board, Emily Mark Cuck on behalf of the applicant here, Cuck and Cuck 217 North 6th Street, Reading, PA 19601.
Just for the record, this is the Polymer building up near Hyde Park, right?
That is correct. Yes, this is well. It's actually two existing lots. One has a small storage building on it, Mr. Price, and the other is parking for the existing Mitsubishi Chemical properties.
Gotcha.
Okay. And anybody that you're going to have testified, you want to have them sworn in now, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have Mr. Michael Maletsky and I have Mr. Scott Miller with me this evening. Mr. Maletsky and Mr. Miller will both be sworn at this time, please.
All right, gentlemen, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Mike, are
Mr.
you on? If I can, Mr. Chairman. Mike, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, if I can give a quick offer of proof with respect to this, I know it's been a long evening and I think I can probably cut straight to the chase. It's probably a little known secret that Mitsubishi Chemical Advanced Materials has a facility within the limits of the city of Reading. Mr. Maletsky is here this evening to testify as to what they do, but what the key focus of this particular application is they produce a specific component for semiconductors, and it's extruded plastics. So contrary to the chemical moniker, what we're looking to do here is increase production of very sophisticated plastics that are components of the semiconductor business. Our customers are the classic high-end customers that you're familiar with, and we'll have Mr. Maletsky get into that a little bit. But as you go back in time, a couple of years ago, there was actually the supply chain issues, and we ran to the point where the production was not able to keep up with the demand. So Mitsubishi was tasked with putting a new production facility online within the city, where it has a significant amount of the materials present and the experience and the personnel that know how to do this. So we were tasked with finding a location. This is the last piece of property that Mitsubishi currently owns, and the idea is that they have developed a line that will increase their production. And to do that, we need to demo the existing structure, remove the existing parking, and construct a new facility that consists of about 39,422 square feet. So we do acknowledge, obviously, we have submitted a sketch plan and we know we're going to have to go through land development. And so that will help to address a good portion of the relief that we're requesting here tonight. But the primary focus of what we're here to address with you is the coverage and let you know where we are with the parking. So with that, I can certainly jump into Mr. Maletsky's testimony, whatever your pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
Why don't you go with Mr. Maletsky first?
All right, Mr. Maletsky, would you state your full name and your business address, please?
Yep, Michael Maletsky, 2120 Fairmont Ave, Reading, PA.
Mr. Maletsky, would you just briefly tell the board what you do and what your duties are?
I'm the engineering manager here at the Reading facility for Mitsubishi Chemical. I handle the engineering team, all the CapEx budgeting throughout the year. I also run the R&D department, and I do facilities improvements as well.
And now, Emily, you don't have to go to this, but I have Mr. Maletsky's resume attached to the exhibits that we submitted earlier. So
I think we can stipulate to that.
I figured so. I just wanted to point out that they're there if the board cares to see them. So, Mike, you heard me give an opening statement. Do you agree with pretty much everything I stated in that statement?
Yeah, everything you stated was true. If we could go bigger, we would, but this is about the same, about the biggest we can get on the property, I think, and we need as much space as we can to improve production and keep stuff going here in Reading.
And you absolutely want to stay in the city, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, the equipment's here. A lot of our equipment is custom made. We use a lot of the machine shops in the area for a lot of that. So there's a lot of tribal knowledge that's here in the city of Reading. So to move it is not in the best interest of the company. We'd like to keep as much here as we can and expand it even more if we could. So
can you give the board a little bit of a taste of what your customer base is? Who are you basically providing this material to?
So we make raw materials. We turn raw materials into extruded shapes. We supply those to any type of semicon fab that feeds into the final chip production, AMAT, Applied Materials, Lam Research, Intel, IBM, anybody who's making a microchip or polishing a microchip wafer, our product is used in their process.
Very simply, Mike, Emily has put up on the screen what you're proposing for this new manufacturing facility. And just to point out, we have obviously a significant interesting area here with the alley that's in the middle of those two parcels. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, right now, I think it's a paper street.
And so we'll have to go through the process of land development with the city if we're successful here and work through the vacation of that alley, a number of issues, but nothing that we don't think is attainable. Is that right?
Yep, correct.
Mr. Maletsky, the potential actual employment for this building, is it approximately 10 employees on the first shift?
Yes, 10 on the first shift, 6 on the second shift, and there would be 6 on the third shift.
And because we are going to be removing the proposed parking or the existing parking that's to the left of this plan, we're proposing we're going to be able to park those employees down the street. Am I right?
Yes.
And that is on property that is already owned and controlled by Mitsubishi.
Yes, that's our property.
And we'll have Mr. Miller get into that just a little bit later. Is that right?
Yes.
Gentlemen, I have no further questions for Mr. Maletsky. I offer him for cross.
I just have one quick question. Were you familiar with the letter that you folks got from Hawk Valley Associates?
Yes, I did get the letter.
Okay,
Yes.
All right, that's all I wanted to know. Any other board members have any questions? All right, zoning questions?
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
guess are you going to be going into more detail? I guess I just want to know if the parking is going to be on what we consider the same lot, or is there an adjacent lot in common ownership where the parking is going to be?
So Emily, we'll get into that with Mr. Miller in just a minute, if that's okay.
Okay. Yep. Nope. That's fine.
Okay, Mr. Price, any questions?
Yeah, so some of what the work that you're doing is providing chips for national defense issues and whatnot as well, correct? Not just for the civilian market.
So yeah, so our raw material that we send to these suppliers, they're the ones actually making the chips. We just supply them equipment to make the chips is how I'll put it. And yeah, it's both defense and for the civilian market.
All right, thank you.
And Mike, if I could just to touch a little bit on the ordinance bans, you might as well get into that too, if you're okay.
Yeah, I won't go into too much detail, but we do make items for multiple areas of defense, including ordnance that's being used right now pretty heavily.
And I
So-
guess I would assume, and I should never assume, but anyway, you will have pretty tight security on this facility without going into any details.
All of our facilities are pretty tight. We have swipe in and swipe out badges, and those badges are updated every day. So if a employee is let go, their badge is turned off pretty immediately. So the security on the building is pretty good.
Okay, thank you. All right, continue, Mr. Coe.
If we can, if anybody does, if there's no other questions for Mr. Maletsky, we'll move on to Mr. Miller.
Go ahead.
All right, Scott, you've been sworn. Could you state your name and address, please?
It's Scott Miller. My business address is 1047 North Park Drive, Wyomissing, PA, and I am employed with Spot Stevens and McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I've submitted Mr. Miller's curriculum vitae, which is also part of the exhibits. I'd like to offer him as an expert in the area of land planning.
And we'll stipulate.
Thank you very much. Mr. Miller, just very briefly, in front of you and on the screen that's being shared is a plan showing the proposed 39,422.9 square foot manufacturing building. Is that a plan that was prepared either by you or at your direction?
At my direction is correct.
And essentially that plan is showing a coverage variance, a dimensional variance for coverage. Is that right?
That is correct.
The proposed coverage, I believe, is about 66%. Is that fair?
That is correct.
And the permitted is 50%?
Correct.
And when you take into consideration the requirements of the manufacturing process and the manufacturing line, which we're not necessarily at liberty to share because of proprietary information, but as that is laid out in the building, does that in fact basically require the dimensions of the building that you've proposed?
Yes, and as Mike had testified earlier that he wanted to go bigger, but obviously we could not do that and still comply with all the setbacks.
So obviously Emily has asked one of the questions with respect to where the parking is going to take place for the employees for this building. You did a calculation and determined that the parking lot that is down the street is approximately 360 feet away. Is that right?
That is correct.
And Mr. Miller, as you would run that calculation, is that approximately from the front door or the anticipated front door of the new manufacturing facility to the edge of the parking lot that is also controlled by Mitsubishi?
Yes, approximately, yes.
So when you take a look at the actual section of the ordinance, that is section I-1, and it talks about a requirement for a parking facility to be within 300 feet from a principal use, but the distance may be increased to 500 feet for employee parking for a non-residential use. Is it your understanding that this would comply with that 500-foot requirement without any question?
That is correct.
If the city applies the 300-foot requirement, which we don't think is necessarily the appropriate requirement, then we would need a dimensional variance for that. Am I right?
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, would you like us to run through the rest of the requirements? We've got essentially, I think the rest of them are addressed or could be addressed by land development. And we haven't gone through that process yet, right, Mr. Miller?
Yes, we only submitted a sketch plan to the city for review and comment.
I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Price?
I'm sorry, what, sir?
Well, the question is, do we want to go through in detail each one of the things that tended to be an issue here?
You kind of got an overall plan. You know that it's going to be 39,000 square feet,
right?
That they're going to exceed maximum impervious coverage. And then really you know, it's an industrial area. It's not gonna change the nature of that area up there, in my humble opinion. I mean, it's pretty industrial. It's been there for at least 60 years, I would say, or 70 years. And the employees will park where they're told to park and will walk. So I don't know if you need to go through every little detail. You have the review letters.
We have the review letters, and Mr. Chairman, we acknowledge we're going to have to go through land planning. So whatever requirements the Planning Commission has with respect to landscaping and lighting, we will comply with every aspect to the best of our capability.
Well, let me just ask the rest of the board. Does any board member want us to go through each of these things? Or would we be satisfied that they will be, that we'll deal with these two main issues and then we'll leave land development and codes and so forth, deal with the rest of it? Does anybody have any objection to that?
No.
No? Okay, so that's the way we'll handle it.
I would have
If
no
I-
further questions for Mr. Miller unless Emily has some.
I just one clarification here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
We can.
Yeah.
Okay, is this the area where you will be providing the employee parking?
That is correct.
Okay, so this is actually still considered part of the lot. So that distance wouldn't even be something that we would consider because it's still considered on site. It's not off site. So we wouldn't need to consider any variances or anything for the distance of the parking.
Emily, thank you for that clarification. We were asking in an abundance of caution, and we will provide the
Nope.
board or the planning commission with whatever documentation they need to substantiate that we have the right to park on our own properties. So.
Yep, no problem. I do, I think I made a comment on that on my staff report, at the bottom. But yeah, anything else that you would need, just, we'll do that land development.
Okay.
Mr. Miller, do you see the need to add anything else to your testimony?
No, just one, I do want to clarify one thing though, and on the items that we had discussed. That's on the list is that we did meet with the staff at the city and the public works regarding curb and sidewalk. We will provide curb on 3 sides of the property where it abuts the existing streets. But we are going to only provide curbing on Alton Street and not Fairmont or Belmont. Didn't feel it was necessary, and there was no walking locations tied to those. Just wanted to clarify that.
You know, it's been so long since I've seen Mr. Miller. I thought he won the lottery and retired.
He wishes, Mr. Price. He wishes.
I do, I will testify to that, yes.
Okay. All right. Any board members have any questions of any of these people?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just
Mr.
one,
Miller.
Phil. Mr. Miller, have you considered site grading? Is there any grading that has to be done that may affect the possible size of the building? It seems like you're utilizing the whole property, which you virtually are.
Well,
And I'm just concerned that that might be an issue in the future.
correct, there is a grade difference from Fairmont down to Belmont. So that is being addressed architecturally as part of the site. And the architect is fully aware of what the site constraints are, and will be addressing it accordingly.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Emily, anything else?
No, that's everything for me.
Steve, anything?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, anybody in the audience? Anybody in the audience want to testify for or against this application? Seeing none. Mr. Cuck, anything you want to add?
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your time. Members of the board, I would just move the admission of the exhibits that we presented to Emily as part of the hearing. And again, it's always good to see everybody. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
all of you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
that
you.
concludes this appeal. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. And just so that there's no confusion, we're having a special meeting on October the 4th, which will have 2 items on. And then we have our regular meeting on October the 11th. So just so everybody knows what's coming up.
I will see you on the 4th, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, heavens. All right, thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Okay.
Before we move on to the next appeal, our interpreter had to leave, and so this appeal, actually, they did request an interpreter. So not sure if you wanted me to ask if they were okay without having an interpreter or if they would like to continue.
You know, we've tried to do it without interpreters and it becomes very difficult. I'd say continue it to the
Yeah.
regular October meeting.
Which
Okay.
one? Do you want to put it on for the 4th or the 11th? The
Well, we
4th?
already got 2 for the 4th, and I think that Central Catholic one might be a long one, so
I think so.
just put it number 1 on the regular October meeting.
Okay. Would it be, Steve, would it be all right if I say that to the applicant in Spanish? That way,
Well, let's open the hearing and continue.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll
All
start
right.
the hearing. And then
I'll open the hearing and we'll do that, and then we'll tell them what's going on. This is Appeal 2023-29, 125 Morgantown Road. Jose Lugo is seeking a variance to establish a lounge use to the existing restaurant retail tobacco shop. The subject property is located in an MC Manufacturing Commercial Zoning District, and the owner of record is Wise Choice Properties, LLC. Okay. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear this testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay. Emily, do you want to tell them that because we don't have an interpreter, an official interpreter, that we're going to continue their case till
They need to request a continuance.
Yeah.
Okay. Para aplicante José Lugo, usted preguntó para tener alguien que te traduzca, pero el que iba a traducir no se podía quedar y ahora no tenemos alguien para traducir. ¿Usted está de acuerdo para tener su hearing para el próximo mes, es el 11 de octubre? Para tener alguien que te traduzca, porque yo no puedo traducir por usted. No te, ok.
Y si esa es la única opción que hay disponible.
Ok, si tú puedes solamente decir, lo puedes decir en español, pero solamente para tenerlo en el récord, preguntando una continuanza. Entonces, solamente a preguntar una continuanza hasta el hearing el 11 de octubre.
Como que estoy de acuerdo que se mueva el hearing para el octubre 11.
Okay, so he understands and he requests for it to be moved to the October 11th hearing.
All right, is there a motion to approve the continuance?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any questions or comments on the motion? If not, hearing any questions, all in favor to continue the hearing till October 11th, say aye.
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 All opposed. So tell Mr. Lugos that he will be number 1 hearing on October 11th.
Okay, entonces para el 11 de octubre usted va a ser el primero, entonces para tener alguien que te traduzca.
Okay.
Okay, muchas gracias.
And gentlemen, I'll have my secretary reach out to you about getting together.
Okay. That
Sounds good.
I thank all of you, and in particularly Emily. This was a long session, and you too, Sandra. So I think we did a pretty good job of getting through this and getting the information we needed. So we will see you on October the 4th.
If I can actually have the board members and Steve, I just have a quick administrative update, before anything.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Yep.